Hello, Akash.
Hey Susan, how are you doing?
Hey, good. I'm actually trying to set up the live stream as suggested by Feynman. So I'm gonna have a look at I logged on as the host and I'm looking for the stream button, but it wasn't enabled. So I just enabled the allow streaming meeting setting from the cloud, like the web portal of the Zoom um, account. So it's like an account-based feature and it's being turned off. So let me, now it says Zoom wants additional access to your YouTube Google account. Sure, select all. Um, Make sure you trust Zoom. Yes, I do. And then broadcast Zoom meeting to YouTube. It's a bit of problem because um, I log in as my Microsoft account
Hmm.
on YouTube, and then I have to switch to the upstream account. But when I pick an account, I cannot switch to the upstream account. So I'm gonna try use my Microsoft account for now and see if it will let me switch the live, like the upstream Azure account later. But it's all a experiment. Have you done a live stream before, Akash? Like, I
No.
worry if I click go live and then I want to end it, what do I do? Okay, gonna try it
Yeah,
anyway.
I think hopefully Feynman joins. He's the expert here, I think.
Yeah, okay, I'll do go live. The user is not enabled for live stream. Okay, so attempt number one failed. I'll try again next week. There's some fiddling to do. Okay. Okay, going back to the main window. Luis said he will only be here for the first half. No problem. So let me start sharing my screen. That's the one. Okay, can everyone see?
Yes.
Thanks. Um, yeah, so I've added the section for today's meeting. Feel free to add to the agenda as we go through our PRs. We did a quick review of our PRs on Monday already. So Akash, I've started reviewing the key management provider, but I'm still going through the PR, and then I plan to like publish all my comments together, so you don't get like a billion notification emails.
Yeah, thanks.
But so far, like I noticed that you've added a key management provider list. Like I wonder if we have to enable the list struct for other CRDs as well? And when do you use the list? Is it just through some natively supported kubectl commands?
Yes, that's where I think it's used. I think this already existed in the certificate provider as well. So just kind of using that as kind of prior art to follow. So, uh,
Okay,
but yeah,
so
I
we,
believe it's used for the native listing capability,
yeah,
maybe.
we can double check if the
Yeah,
verifiers and the stores have the same structure as well.
sure. Yeah.
Um, and I noticed like we have some generated files for like webhooks and conversion, like some like they're partially existed today. So
Yeah, because we
yeah,
do
we
we
can
don't
discuss.
actually use some of these. We our chart doesn't actually refer to some of these, so it's
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. And then there's like, I think this one should say AKV instead of inline, but you'll get these comments. So I'm still working through them.
Yeah, no, this is great.
Um,
Yeah, thanks.
yeah, there's so many files. It's just like good to get an extra eye for like sanity check.
Yes. Yeah.
Are there any other PRs that we have any updates on? Akash, like, do you need any sign-offs from additional, like that one is approved? Are you waiting or blocked on anything?
No, so I guess now that it's approved, I need to update the branch protection rules to change the gatekeeper matrix that it supports. So I'll make that change. I need to manually go and do that. But yeah, now that it's approved, I think we can merge it.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. And we
For
had last community meeting. Sorry, I've cut someone off.
No, I was just gonna mention for the one above, there's that one is kind of been shelved. I think I mentioned it on Monday. We're waiting on a fix from the upstream project that we rely upon. Zot, so they just merged the fix. They need to cut a new RC release, and then once they have that release, we can pin to that. So,
Yep,
and
sounds good.
then the one on top is very recent. This one builds upon 1293. So it's the second in a series of PRs. There's probably going to be like 6 or 7 at least. So yeah, it's
Looking
hard
forward to
to.
those.
So
Cool. Yeah, so last week we also had a little discussion with Feynman on the status of the like supportability tickets kind of on the Slack channel. So the customer with the pod restart, so he actually provided Ratify logs. So it looks like Ratify is correctly running at least. And I see in his screenshot, he's got like a signature verification success. So, but he's still mentioning he's got the gatekeeper restart problem. But but at least we can see that Ratify was able to validate a signature. So that's great. But I'm not sure how we're gonna move forward with the customer. Any
I think
suggestions, Feynman?
Hey, Susan, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, we can.
Yeah. Thanks for providing the follow-up updates on the Ratify users problem. Actually, if we identify that Ratify on the Ratify side, there's no problems that we can follow up, or we will need to troubleshooting. I think this might be the what must be the root cause might be happen in the gatekeeper. Is that our analysis? So the
Yeah, the
Ratify
customer's
works well.
analysis is that it's a load issue. Like maybe there's like not enough CPU or I don't know what are the CPU requirements for Gatekeeper. Like, is it worth tagging Surtag in the Ratify channel, you think?
Yeah, if we identify this as a pure issue in Gatekeeper, I would suggest that we can direct this user to Gatekeeper community, or we can tag maintainers from Gatekeeper to take a look.
Yeah.
I think the purpose is to make sure the Ratify user's environment works as expectation.
Cool. There was another thread you were following up, Akash. Do you have an update for that?
yeah, so I've been working with him offline. He followed up with some more information about the secret, what was stored inside their Kubernetes secret. Nothing apparently obvious that I can tell. So I told him to given him the commands to use our dev chart, which contains the extra debug logging information. And hopefully that'll reveal something. I'm very puzzled. I'm not sure how to, I'm not able to reproduce it on my end. I created a JFrog Artifactory, the cloud version of it, worked fine with that. I tried to create a local mirror that he has on his cluster, because I think JFrog allows you to create like a local registry that mirrors with your upstream cloud-based registry. Unfortunately, I'm not able to actually test that scenario because it requires a license key for that, and you have to pay for that. So
Oh,
yeah, I can't test that scenario. I'm not sure if we have, if someone in the community has that access to a key that we can use for testing, because it doesn't seem like there's like a paid, a free option to even try that feature. So
you mean there's no access to the commercial JFrog Artifactory, and there's no free trial application there? Is
yeah,
that the blocking for us to troubleshoot?
well, it's not guaranteed that will help us, that it's related to this user's exact problem. It'll just help us rule out that there's no issues on the Ratify end for this particular local registry that they have set up, the mirrored registry. So that's one thing. If we want to rule that out, we would need that key in order to test it on a local cluster. But what I think what we can do, if it's going to become too troublesome to get that, we can just wait for him to return some of those debug logged version of Ratify, that's the dev version, and then hopefully there's more information that surfaces through that. Yeah.
Thanks for the
Okay,
update,
thank you,
Akash.
Akash.
Yep.
Is that user still following with you and provide the updates?
Yes.
For
Yeah.
example, the debug logs.
They responded a couple days ago with what I had asked for previously, which was the secret contents. And I followed up with them yesterday. They haven't responded yet, but they're usually about a day or two delayed. So.
So I think for this situation, we will need this user's help on troubleshooting in their environment, because
Yeah.
we don't have the access to troubleshoot with the JFrog Artifactory.
Yeah. I think I will need to schedule a call with them, and they'll need to kind of be there while we try to troubleshoot what's going on, what's unique in their exact setup. So
Yeah, I think we should limit the purpose. Our purpose is actually identify whether there is a problem in Ratify or not. If
yeah.
there is not in Ratify side, I think we can ask the user to reach out to their registry provider. But it's a Ratify problem, I think we will need to detect and fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think at this point we're not sure which one it is, right? So
Okay. Let's keep following. And for the gatekeeper problem, I think Certec is in the Ratify channel either. Maybe Susan, we can tag Certec for taking a look.
Yep. Sounds good. A couple of weeks ago, we had a thread about OCI spec update. If we need to change the tag schema to scheme to spec 1.1, are we ready to discuss that today? We are. I think people are vaguely nodding.
I think
I don't
Shui
think
Do we
there.
already have a tracking issue for that?
I think Yi made one. Yeah.
Cool. Let me go back to the repo. Is it one of the recent ones? Ah, there it is. 1324, and it's currently, yeah, just has a triage label.
So from Ratify's perspective, we've actually already bumped the version to 1.1. It came in as a Dependabot PR. And because RC6 and 1.1, there doesn't seem to be much of a discernible change, there was no issues there. The only other loose end there that I can think of is there was a question around mixed refers scenarios. But as far as Ratify is concerned, like we rely upon ORS to return the list of refers via the list refers API. So I'm not sure if we need to do anything different on our end.
Yeah, and I understand that ORS and Notary already have issues tracking support on their end. I think he also was responsible for logging those. Yeah, that makes sense. I think it might be good to. I think Akash, you're going to some of the Notary community. Are you? Do you know how are they approaching this?
Feynman, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think you were there too, but there's some discussion around like the default behavior for flags to use when pushing, because notation will actually push the signature as well. But for a Ratify scenario, I don't think there's as much of a concern. There is a concern, I guess, the opposite for pulling as well. Maybe there is some parallel there, but yeah.
I think we should, Akash, can you add some notes to this issue with some of these scenarios you just called out, just
Sure.
to make sure we validate this?
Shoei?
Yeah, I think for Ratify, you can just follow up just use the default behavior of the ORAS. So
Okay.
basically, it will attempt the refer API first. If it fails, it will fall back to the refer tag schema.
Okay, that makes sense.
One more comment. I think Ratify will need to bump up the ORS Go dependency from 1.3.1, the patch release, to 1.4. Oh, so sorry, 1.5. Is that correct, Shui? Because 1.5 is going to be compliant.
Do you mean ORAS Go 2.5?
ORS Go 2.5, correct? That release we will be supporting OCI 1.1.
Yes, and I think that will be released this month.
Okay, great. I think hopefully Dependabot should just pick that up for us, so it should be automated.
So are there any code changes required for this issue? Or is it more of an investigation? Should I put the milestone in the current one?
Sure, I think we can put this in the 1.2 one. I will follow up and add some more details to this issue, but I think the remaining items are one, just make sure that we follow the default behavior that Shoei is talking about. I think we already do, but just need to double confirm.
Yeah.
And apart from that, I think that should take care of it.
Can I assign this one to you, Akash?
Yep, I'll take care of it.
And I want to remove the triage.
Go to the little gear on labels.
Little gear on labels. Ah, okay.
And then click.
Thanks.
There.
Like you have to refamiliarize with the UI.
Right.
And this is new feature. I don't know, I'll just leave the label.
It's more like a dependencies. No? But I mean, I guess pull request. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I guess dependencies.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I think that's saved. While we're all here today, do we want to triage through other issues, or do people have other higher priority items.
Can we go through the current milestone issues and see where we are? I think the original plan is to do a release at the end of March. So let's see where we are.
Sure. Just top to bottom, multi-tenancy support. It's currently marked for this milestone. Binbin has like open PRs, and I think he's planning to break that down a bit more. Is that correct, Binbin?
Yes. So it's quite big. I plan to break it down into maybe 3 PRs.
Yeah, it might be good then to create like separate issues, and rather than have this like over multi-tenancy one, like just maybe do a scenario based and we can track the scenarios that you're gonna enable this release versus the next.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, let's leave that one for now.
Validate external plugin name while applying CR. This one was related to like if the plugin does not exist, we are doing validation on CRD apply instead of validation, like when the verification is being invoked. So this one's merged already. So I can close close issue. The PR is linked. Going back to the list. Fix cosine record URL default marked as a bug.
Yeah, all of the cosine related ones are going to be part of that epic that I've linked. It's going to all be covered under that work.
Is this specific one going to fit on this release, Akash, or do we do it?
So it actually depends. This will fall under the bucket of supporting some of the extra cosine keyless flags. That issue kind of came up relatively recently. So I have put that in priority order as towards the bottom.
Then let's just push it for next release then. Oh, we don't have a 1.3 mouse. Let me try to create that as well.
Sure, we can come back to that one to move the milestone. There's a lot of the cosine verification one. I imagine they're all under the same epic.
Yep, they should all be linked to the same epic.
Yep. So there's support verification, RSA keys, multiple keys. You already have a PR for the cosine managed in KMS.
Yep.
Okay, so these 3 should be good, right? We don't need to update anything.
Yeah, I think I plan on having those in the next milestone, 1.2.
Yeah. Yep. Next one, restrict HTTP response size sent back to gatekeeper.
This was around a concern on if this would be a security issue. I think we had agreed last time that we would do some investigation first. I don't know if I will get to this in this milestone, unless someone else wants to pick this one up.
What is the current limit on the response size? I just want to understand the priority. Like, is it a we think is likely to be an issue right now, or is it more of a?
So this would be an issue for if our response size was large, and that would be if we were returning. I think previously we were discussing returning the entire SBOM or the entire vulnerability report, and we no longer do that. So there isn't as much of a concern that one of our verifiers could fall into this trap. This would be maybe a concern if someone brought a custom verifier and tried to use like our OCI plugin model for that.
We still have the pass-through mode on the vulnerability scanner, right? Where we can return the whole report.
Yes, yeah, you're right. So it is possible then. Yeah, so actually this still is valid then. We need to at least figure, I'm not sure what the limit even is here, if there is a limit set. We need to
Yep.
investigate that.
Yep. I think I can pick this up, assign it to myself for now, but if we don't get to it, we won't block the release for this.
Okay, sure.
Consider license checker plugin deprecation. So when did we release we'd released the license checker under the SBOM verifier in 1.1. So it's okay to deprecate license checker sample plugin this current release, correct? Yep, okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. Let me just assign myself to that one.
Did we discuss what are the things we need to do in order to deprecate these things before? I remember we wanted to do like an announcement first.
Yeah, so we updated our documentation to say that we're gonna deprecate this. And deprecating it, is it to just remove it from our tree?
Yeah.
And I'm sure no one is using it. Actually,
Right.
nobody ever reached out.
Whenever somebody tries to use it, do we like have some sort of warning or?
No, it's purely through documentation.
I see.
Yeah, for the APIs, you can mark it as deprecated, but because the verifier is already shipped.
Right. Ugh. Let's see.
But
Maybe
it is a
then,
good test to set up a process. How do we deprecate?
yeah, I'm happy Yi and Feynman are here. Maybe they can provide some context or guidelines. So
Yeah.
on what do we need to do in order to deprecate before we actually
A
remove it?
plugin. Yeah.
Yeah, plugin just for from the tree.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe we can discuss that at length or more with more time, or maybe I don't know, like maybe later today if there's time, we can start discussing that.
Yeah, I do agree that we will need a standard process for deprecating a plugin. And we will need to define that process, the plugin lifecycle management in Ratify.
Mm-hmm.
It is similar to how we manage and deprecate the APIs.
Okay. Yeah, let's I think Sam, I won't be here the second half of the meeting, but maybe if there's time we can start the discussion and then we can continue on the next.
Yeah, this is actually a governance document that we will need to, maybe not a governance. It's actually a community-related document that we will need to provide on the Ratify side. We can create a document issue to track the plugin deprecation process.
Makes sense. Yeah, let's add an issue to track. Susan, can I put to create the issue here?
Yep. I'll take a note. Create a tracking.
I also put it on the notes.
Yep. Oh, thank you. I heard Zoom actually have the recap function, so I'm like, I'm gonna look into that and maybe we can get automated recaps.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it just self-refreshed. Next one, add version property to store and verifier CRD. Add version property. I see. So we have a version, like what version of the plugin you're looking for in the CRD. But we don't have it in the config map. So there is a little bit of inconsistency there that we need to review. So that's still to be worked on. Oh, hello, E. Hey, we're just working through, like while everyone is here, we're just going through our items in the current milestone 1.2. So we're just gonna like bring people back on the same page. So we're like halfway through the list now. Oh, sorry, I need to assign myself to this one. Next one is error log improvement for verifying vulnerability report. Akash, do you remember what this one is?
Yep, yeah, so this one is mainly completed. There was already a previous PR that fixed most of these cases here. There's one particular case, this first one, case 1, which is not as straightforward to fix because it's actually not related to the vulnerability report. It's a executor level issue where if you can't find any refers, that's where it's actually thrown, not at the plugin level. So one thing we could do is I could close this out and then make a more broader issue referring to just this case and not just specific to the vulnerability report, and we could track it that way. As for being in the next milestone, have we set a date yet for that? I think it moved by a month, right? It's probably now end of April.
Yeah, we have to move.
Yeah.
We have to discuss the date. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, E. Can you confirm?
Yeah, I think we first, yeah, I'm not sure we triaged all the issues. Sorry for being late. Maybe we can click the milestone later. I mean, the 1.2 milestone to see how many issues. Then based on that, we will know which issues are mandatory for this milestone. Then we can estimate a date. And for other issues that's nice to have, if we miss the date, it can be moved to the next milestone. So it's better that we can firstly triage all the issues, then we go back to the milestone to check all the list and make an estimation. Based on previous, I mean, before the code yellow, right? We mentioned we will move the release at least 1 month later. So I think it is sometime in April.
Yep. Okay. Yep. That makes sense. But for this specific issue, I think we should close it, Akash, and just open like the executor level improvements.
Would it be possible for you to just tag my name in it so it'll pop up? Yeah.
Like through a comment?
Yeah, just tag me. It'll pop up in my email, then I'll know to.
Sure. Let's close this one and open specific executor level error improvement.
Okay. I think this is also, sorry.
Yeah.
This was created by me. I think this is also, I didn't remember the time. This is also related to the some error improvements I showed last time, right?
Yeah.
It's not only related to vulnerability report, as Akash mentioned, for any other artifacts. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the improvements for the verifiers, for the vulnerability report has been merged already.
Okay.
Okay. Next one on the list, improve test failure detection on PR merge. That one is there's like the in draft mode PR that's supposed to handle this. And once I switch back next week, I will continue the staging branch policy changes. Next one, 1248, deprecate config policy provider.
I think this one's going to follow the same guidance that we determined as the other plugin.
Yeah. Have we already made the announcement, like somewhere in the doc?
We haven't, so I think that's probably the first step. We just announce and then we'll take action in 1.3.
Yep.
So I guess we need to update our documentation to add like a deprecated banner maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
Or
I just wonder where we will announce the application in Slack channel or in the release notes.
Yeah,
any
probably.
existing process around this e-enfayment for notary?
In my memory, Notary project also lack of this kind of deprecation process, and we don't have a standard document for deprecation process.
Yeah, actually, it's a little different for it will be different for CLI and the library, right? For CLI is how the user will face the CLI. So anything breaks the changes, it will be a major version update because it's not backward capability. It impacts the behavior. If we want to deprecate some flag or some command, something. But for the library, I think if I remember, because Shui also joined, I think maybe for the what I know in the ORAS community is first to have all the API coexisting, right? And some API will be marked as deprecated. So I think for this case, if it is not user facing, it is owning the I mean, this is actually user facing, right? The policy provider. It will change the behavior, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually a breaking change because user install a new version, the previous one will not work.
They just trying to walk through the files, like the config file changes here, Bin. So if they were using the config policy provider, was it available as a CR before?
So what do you mean by available as CR?
Yes. So for example, if they use the current released version of Ratify, do we is this config policy provider a custom resource? Or is it something, a custom resource?
Yes, because for the policy provider is a CR and they can specify recall or config.
Yep. But it's the same CR. The resource is the same. It's just the type is different.
Yes, and they can only choose one of them, exactly one of them.
Yep. So on customers' machines right now, they have a CR with the config policy provider. And if they upgrade to a new version of Ratify where this type does not exist, how do we plan to handle that?
I think as Yi was saying, we can't actually remove support for it until 2.0. We could probably in the documentation say don't use it or it's not recommended to use it. But I don't think we can remove support like we still functionally needs to be able to support that.
Got it. So we need to move it to future since we don't have a 2.0.
Yeah, maybe you can create one. I think
Yeah.
ideally, maybe we can try to put all the deprecation or breaking changes in one major release that we can plan later. So you can create a 2.0 and we can move, we can mark the issue that we think it is a breaking change and it is not urgent for now, then we can put it in 2.0.
Yeah, I have to continue supporting this until 2.0. Create 2.0 milestone and how do we make the announcement? Do we need to make any announcement now, like for this release in our docs?
So in current release, do we change something? I mean, if we have two ways to do that, we can in the document to mention the existing or the previous provider will be deprecated. You can use the new one, something like this. But currently we support both, something like that. During in next release, right?
Okay.
And in 2.0 we completely remove the deprecated.
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah. My understanding is like you gotta put the announcement out so people are aware of the intention and then wait a period of time before you actually remove it, right? Okay.
Yeah. I think that is kind of a deprecation window in some practice. You have something new and you released, and within the deprecation window, both solution existing and the user have the time to switch to the new solution. And after deprecation window, the old solution will be removed. This is kind of a practice, but maybe we can we can use this practice and document it.
Yep. Next one, refactor core workflow to apply namespace clustered resource.
Oh, this is part of the multi-tenancy issue.
Yep. And same as refactor custom resource.
Yes.
Yep. We also have items for document.
Sorry,
go ahead.
For the multi-tenancy related, should we mark it a milestone? I mean, put a milestone for it. I didn't see a milestone in this page.
Yeah. So this is the list for 1.2. So everything
Okay,
listed here is
okay. Okay, that's the reason why I see this issue list looks different from my side.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it's not the issues list. Yes.
Okay.
Then document process for tracking breaking changes. That is kind of like it's not deprecation, but slightly different. Yeah, but I think we had this planned for a little while now. Any updates?
Breaking changes.
Oh, yeah. This one specifically is for the release notes. So we discussed we need to
okay, this means when you create a PR, right? You should have follow some convention. Then the release note can fetch this information. For example,
so
the
where should
PR
we add this in Akash? Like we had a little discussion around this. Where should we?
I think we
where should we
should
just
have
take
this
these
in the
3 lines? Yeah.
template.
Contributing
template.
guide. Yeah.
Both.
Good call. Yep. So this should be copied to, did we say PR template?
Yep.
PR template. Yep.
Currently, do we have a PR template now?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
The PR template today have do you need to make documentation changes? What testing have you done? So we can just add a section if this is a breaking change, here are the things that you need to apply to your PR and the
Yeah,
release note.
sounds good.
Okay, so I'll sign myself for that.
Meanwhile, sorry, Susan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I want to say that meanwhile, we may also need to document the standard process for breaking chains. For example, how can we define breaking chains and which scenario or which situation that we regard that as a breaking change?
Mm.
We have CRDs, APIs, plugins. Most of those configurations can have breaking changes in the future, but people may have different understanding for breaking changes.
Yep, good call. Do you have a link to it, an existing notary one? We can just copy the format.
I think in notary project we also need that. Is that correct?
I see.
Yeah, currently we don't have that. So currently, especially the breaking change will be happening in the CLI. So it's kind of straightforward that we need to increase the major version. And if some feature we are not sure, it will be marked as a preview or experimental. So in that case, if you break something, it's fine. So so maybe we can, at least I think it's necessary. We need to document something, especially from the maturity of the API or feature point of view. Maybe we can first introduce some preview or experimental tag, right? So that later, after we released and go through some user cases from customer, and if we see it's stable, then we change it to stable. If not, we want to break something, I think that is totally fine. So we do need a process for this. There are different practices we can discuss.
Correct. And I think in general, we can document a feature lifecycle management doc to cover breaking chains and also the deprecation process, because those are kind of the feature lifecycle management in the community.
Yeah, do we have an issue tracking that? If not, we can create one. And I think this is not mandatory for Ratify donation, right? We can, if we can have a list of documents, we can do it step by step and finish the most urgent document first.
So that I remember we have two separate issues, one for breaking chains, another one for deprecation we walked through today. Maybe I can create a issue on the website repo to track the feature lifecycle management and linking to those two issues. I think the general idea is that we can create and update all of those non-feature work items or documentation work items in the website repo, because they will not block the release in the Ratify milestone.
Yep. Sounds good. Do we need to add milestones for the website then? Do we have milestones for the website?
Not yet. I think we don't we don't have milestone to manage those issues. But in general, we align the website milestone and it should be consistent with the Ratify versioning.
Yeah.
We can create milestone accordingly. And it should be the same with Ratify major repo.
Yep. Sounds good. I can create the tracking issues there. How is it discoverable? I'm just trying to think like from the repository. So if we documented the deprecation process and the breaking change process, would people working on the repository be able to easily discover them? Like how should we link the two in some way?
I think I think all this related to a contributing guide. And in the document, a website, we can also have a section like a developer guideline, and that will link it to the contributing guide. I think for the Ratify repo, we do need a contributing markdown file that lists some basic convention and also practice. We hope if any contributor they want to do contribution to the in the Ratify, they will follow this. So then can you click the code? We do not have the contributing guide, right? For Ratify.
Oh, we do.
I think we have.
If we have that, we can firstly, we can definitely need to improve this contributing guide to add some necessary information. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
so
the PR
if we
related
have
one,
the document for deprecating and breaking changes on the Ratify website, and then we add a link to the doc in the contributing doc in the contributing.md. Is that the proposal?
I think it would be better that those information in this will be put in this markdown first.
I have a little bit different idea on managing this kind of content. Yeah, for the contributing guide, in general, those should be very neat and brief and limited to how new developers get started.
Yeah.
Most of the content should be around how can they set up the development environment and where should they start from. So for the feature lifecycle management, it's more like a convention for all of those community developers that should follow. So I think there could be a separate guide.
We also have a releases.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, for the feature life cycle, it definitely needed to have a different one, and maybe can put a link in the contributing guide pointing to that.
Correct.
I mean, there are some other like the PR convention, right? We mentioned that we put it in the PR template, but it's worth mentioning in the contributing, because contributing will mention how you will contribute. One is you create the issue, requirement, discussion. Another could be you create a PR, right? We can mention some PR convention in the document. If it is a long convention or some practice we want to reference from other community, we can also put a link in the contributing guide. For the feature lifecycle, I agree, it will be a separate document. Yeah.
Okay, so it'll be a document in the Ratify repository, but the tracking issues to create them will be in the doc repository. That's what we agreed on.
So then if we're gonna push this doc and maintain in the Ratify repository, I think it's fine to track all of those issues in the Ratify repository. Okay.
Yep, sounds good. I will create the issues in the Ratify repository. Thanks for clarifying, Ian Feynman. I think we have one last one to triage. Sorry, two. This one, Bin adding improve user experience on external plugins. So I think from our investigation, we said you cannot have multiple versions of cosine binary. Like we won't be able to find it. We can validate that the one running matches the one that you desired for in your CR, but configuring multiple version, it's not possible today.
Yeah, it's not possible. And also the same type for other like plugins if you want to configure.
Yep. So do we want to close this one for now?
Yeah, I feel
Just saying like
it's
we're
type routing.
yeah, I can document the current behavior and then close this one. Currently, only one version of plugin can be configured. We don't, this is not a higher part, this not being prioritized for now. This supporting multiple version is not being prioritized for now. Okay. So it's closed. Epic that tracks the cosine verifier, that one is good. And the last one, Ratify support OCI spec 1.1 is the one we just added to the milestone where we need to review our current fallback behavior. Yep, so.
Yeah, Susan, sorry.
Yes.
Can you scroll up? I want to see the cosine, whether the cosine kitties is that issue
Yeah,
is
sure.
in.
So it was a bug on cosine keyless, the default URL. Are you talking about that one or?
No, it's
No, okay.
Yeah, I think Akash knows the background since cosine 2.0. For the kitties verification, we needed to provide additional parameters. So the currently cosine kitties verification only works for the cosine 1.0.
So
I think
do we
I
already have a
have an
tracking
issue.
issue? You
I
have an
think I
issue?
create, yeah.
Let's look for that. Was it opened recently?
It's 1323.
OIDC identities. Okay.
Yes. I think this one should also be considered in the cosine, the customer resource that Akash is working on, right? These parameters.
Yeah, so Akash is working on the key providers, and this modification would be on the verifier. So that'll be a different change. Is that right, Akash?
Yes, so it would be a part of the overall that trust policy work that we're going to be doing for it, which is in scope for 1.2. However, this one came towards the end. And actually, we can support cosine 2.0. The only concern is that we, by default, then trust all OIDC identities. So there's no configuration, like the cosine CLI for 2.0 requires this as a required flag when you do cosine verify. But the way we've implemented, because we're not constrained by the CLI's restrictions, our current behavior with 2.0 signatures is to just trust all OIDC identities, which is not ideal, but because cosine itself does not considers that a required field. So, I mean, technically it will work without it, but yes, I do agree that we really should support this. The only concern I have is if we're going to be firm on the 1.2 release, there's quite a few other items that need to be finished for cosine. So I just want to temper expectations there. And if this is a release blocker, then we may need to see timeline-wise how it pans out.
Yeah,
Do we have
I
a
think
customer
this,
ask?
yeah.
Yi?
Yeah, customer asking is the kitties verification, right? so this is related. However, as Akash mentioned, since 2.0, cosine requires this different parameters.
Yep.
Although there is a way to trust all, but this is not the best from a security point of view. If user want to specify the identity they want to trust, there's
Yep.
no way to do that. I think we need to prioritize this one and maybe review the 1.2 list to see anything else we can down prioritize. And to do this, Akash, this is also combined with the trust policy improvements, right? You mentioned.
Yeah, they're
So
all sort of intertwined.
okay. I'm not sure whether we can do it step by step. I mean, the trust policy improvement, we can do it a bit later.
No, we will
No.
have to do the trust policy for the keyed multi-key support.
Okay.
This keyless configuration, like you had left a comment in the PR that it should be part of the trust policy as a subsection where you can specify if you're using keyless signing, these are the identities I want to trust, right? So it's going to be part of the trust policy, but that's why it's a separate section in the trust policy. So we could, iteratively add to the trust policy some of the core features we want to support initially. This is considered a very important feature, then we need to add it to the scope of the epic that we currently are tracking for cosine, and it's probably going to add at least another week of work.
Yeah, we are out of time. I think I can contact you later to see how to. You mentioned that the user can trust all the identities, right?
Yes.
How to do that? Can you show me later?
Sure.
I will take a look.
Yeah, I can show you, but it's implicit right now, so there's no configuration. You are by default trusting all identities the way we've currently implemented it. And there's no way to change it.
Yeah, I will follow up this with you later.
Sure.
Yeah, Akash and Eve, feel free to add comments on what the outcome is.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for the discussion, everyone. We're at time. We do have to go through our issues list. Is the PR meeting still a good time, or we have to work out a new time that suits you?
The PR meeting.
Or will you be able to like join half, so we can work through the issues that's newly created?
And remember, it's conflicting with notary community meeting.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, completely.
Okay. All right. Well, then we'll work offline to find a new time for that. Then we'll continue. Yeah. We'll discuss offline.
Yeah, we discuss offline. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.